being
You are
in
the biggest
weeds,
fraud to ever sit in the
this
United States
stinks to
Senate.
high
You are
heaven.
a disgrace to this
This stinks to high
institution
heaven.
and an utter coward.
And I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised
not
that you continue to
surprised
lie
that
from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country.
The FBI director losing his composure and attacking a senator. But hold on. Before celebrating the perfect clip, let's focus on what really matters. This doesn't answer the key questions. Was there retaliation against agents who investigated Trump? Did the FBI really release everything about Epstein? And why do decisions about Maxwell's arrest happen on a timeline that looks, at the very least, suspicious? Now we're moving to a straight-up analysis, no fluff, to separate spectacle from substance. If you want to stay on top of everything, go ahead and subscribe and leave your like.
Did you ever take any action to terminate or discipline an FBI agent or employee in whole or in part as retribution for being part of an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
No.
You also committed, you assured Senator Blumenthal, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. So you're testifying today that you played no role in the firing of even a single FBI agent for political retribution.
None for political retribution.
And if any FBI agent said you did, they would be lying. Is that your testimony?
I'm only speaking to my actions. Everybody is allowed to make their allegations.
Oh, no, these are allegations against you.
And
so, Mr. Patel, if FBI, senior FBI agents or employees said that you were firing them for political retribution reasons because of the cases they were assigned, you're saying they would be lying. Is that
anyone that was terminated at the FBI was done so for failing to meet the standards, uphold their constitutional oath, and effectuate the mission.
Well, by meet the standards, are you talking about meet the standards of protecting the president under any circumstance?
No.
You also guaranteed Senator Blumenthal that every FBI employee will be held to the same absolute same standard. No one will be terminated for case assignments. Are you testifying today that you never terminated anyone at the FBI in whole or in part because of a prior case assignment?
No one at the FBI is terminated for case assignments alone.
Well, I'm asking about you, Mr. Patel. Did you in whole or in part terminate anyone at the FBI because they worked on the Trump investigation or because they worked on January 6th?
No one at the FBI has been terminated for case assignments alone.
Okay, you're saying alone. Does that mean they were terminated in part because they were assigned to a January 6th case or assigned to the Mar-a-Lago case?
A direct question. Did you fire anyone for working on investigations into Trump or January 6th? Met with an answer that becomes a semantic maze. Pay attention. When the respondent answers with an adverb or a qualifier, like alone, they're not just quibbling over a word. They're redrawing the boundary of what the public understands as retaliation. This is narrative gold. The simple question represents the audience's expectation for clarity. The evasive answer represents the political practice of turning facts into interpretations. Legally and administratively, it's possible someone isn't fired solely for working on case X, but that doesn't prevent the same person from facing consequences driven by a combination of factors in which that case was just one element. It's also worth noting the public format of the hearing imposes constraints, controlled testimony, technical evasions, and defensive scripts. The lesson for viewers: don't take the first no as definitive refutation. Look for documentary evidence, formal complaints, and corroborating testimony.
But if you want to keep putting words
well,
in my mouth,
then let me ask you, let's strip away the word alone. Did you terminate or participate in any discipline of any FBI employee in whole or in part because of their work on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th? Yes or no?
Any terminations at the FBI by employees?
No, I'm asking you a very specific question.
And I'm going to answer the question, but you don't like the answer because it's the truth and it guts
want
your
an answer to my
narrative.
question. I don't want an answer to someone else's question. So let me just be precise, and I ask for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI employees are only terminated if they fail to uphold their oaths of office and duty.
You're not answering my question.
I don't have to answer your question yes or no because you're setting up a trap so you can have a media narrative.
I'm not setting up a trap.
And I'm not giving it to you.
Unless it's true that you fired people.
People have been terminated at the FBI who failed to uphold the standards that the FBI requires them to uphold.
Did you tell anyone at the FBI that all FBI employees who they identified who had worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
Say that I would remove people for case assignments?
That people that were identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs. Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
People are not removed for case assignments.
Just answer my question. Did you tell that to someone?
People are not removed for case assignments.
No, you're not answering my question.
And I would never
Mr. Patel,
tell anyone.
Did you tell someone at the FBI that FBI employees identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Yes or no, did you tell someone that?
I would never tell anyone at the FBI that they're being removed for basically their case assignments.
Okay, so anyone who had said that would be lying. Is that your testimony?
Anyone can say whatever they want.
No, I know, but you're saying they were a liar.
I'm telling you what I said.
Because this is in the complaint against you, Mr. Patel. So you're saying Mr. Driscoll and others are liars?
I'm not going to address the complaint and the ongoing
Okay, well then let me ask you, have you ever told anyone at the FBI that the FBI tried to put the president in jail and he hasn't forgotten?
In this segment, the tension rises because Schiff tries to force a yes or no and hits a wall. I cannot comment on ongoing proceedings. This type of response works on three fronts. It's legal, can protect against implicating in litigation. It's political, blocks the narrative. And it's communicative, dodges the point. So how do you distinguish? First, check if there's actually a formal complaint. Number, date, parties involved. If there is, part of the refusal is legitimate. If not, the refusal becomes smoke and mirrors. Second point, watch the tone. When someone describes the question as a narrative trap, they're working to discredit the questioner. A classic technique to win over the audience and reduce the validity of the question, it's a rhetorical move, not evidence. Third, gather proof. A public hearing generates a record. Who was present, what was said, and whether there are documents that confirm or contradict the claims.
In 2024, you were asked by Glenn Beck about Epstein's Black Book. And you said, he asked, who has Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book? And you said, Black Book, FBI. And he said, but who? That is, I mean theirs. And you said, oh, that's under the direct control of the director of the FBI. That's what you said. Was that true, Mr. Patel?
I'll rely on you quoting it accurately. I did that a couple
Was it
years
true
ago.
What you represented to Mr. Beck and the president's supporters out there, or were you lying? Was it true that the Black Book, Epstein's Black Book, was in the possession of the FBI director?
The Black Book was in the possession of the FBI.
Okay, so now that you're the FBI director, you have possession of the Black Book, right?
That index has been released.
So you have Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book?
We've reached what the public calls the Black Book, those lists and indexes everyone imagines as a map of culpability. Patel says the index was at the FBI and that it was released. Quick translation, index released is not the same as everything released, whole and uncut. We need to separate three layers: possession, indexing, and full disclosure. Possessing something is not the same as allowing unrestricted access. Moreover, when authorities use vague terms like the index was released, they often fail to mention that parts were redacted, names were hidden due to ongoing investigations, or some documents remain classified. For the viewer, the practical question is, how many pages were released? Which parts were redacted? Which names actually appear?
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself? And you said, himself, there's no credible information, none. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And Kennedy, the information we have, again, is limited. And Senator Kennedy said, the answer is no one. And you said, for the information we have. So is it your testimony today that in all the Epstein files, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to anyone but himself? Is that your testimony, Mr.
I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic anyone else.
Did he traffic any young woman to someone other than himself? That was Mr. Kennedy's question,
And
Senator
I
Kennedy's
said
question.
the information that 3 administrations have had access to
I'm
have
asking
made
you-
determinations that there are no investigative leads that were credible to prosecute and investigate any others. I'm specifically
I'm asking
stating
you whether
we
it's
were
your
working on.
testimony today.
Here's the nuance that often ignites social media. Patel says there were no credible leads to prosecute others, and this technical phrase carries significant legal weight. It means in legal jargon that after review, the available material would not meet the standard necessary to criminally charge anyone. But what about the victim's experiences and the public reports suggesting the involvement of third parties? There is a difference, and it's crucial, between sufficient legal evidence and indications or reports that, on their own, wouldn't lead a prosecutor to file charges. This difference is fertile ground for conflicting narratives. Some of the public think no prosecution is the same as nothing happened, while others understand the technical distinction. It's our job as editors and narrators to bridge that gap, explaining what each side is actually claiming and why technical language can mask a sense of impunity.
When Todd Blanche went to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, she said, but did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there's no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, and some are in your cabinet, who you value as your co-workers, and you know would be with him if he was a creep or because they wanted sexual favors. A man wants sexual favors, he will find that. They didn't have to come to Epstein for that. And the next question Todd Blanche, the president's former criminal defense lawyer, asked is not who in the cabinet, who are you referring to? His question is, so when's the last time you think you were with Mr. Epstein when he got a massage? So let me ask you, who are those cabinet members that Ghislaine Maxwell was referring to that were part of this cast of characters associated with Mr. Epstein? Who are they?
The Deputy Attorney General took the aggressive step that no one else did and interviewed Ms. Maxwell for
I'm
2
asking you,
days,
who
and
are
we
the
released
who are
the
the cabinet
entirety
members?
of that
Who are the
transcript.
cabinet members?
I do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American
And
public can read the entirety of
Let me ask you
that.
one last question, because you clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. But let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
Prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
This segment is pure chronology and suspicion. An interview with Maxwell followed immediately by a transfer to a minimum security prison. From a technical standpoint, Patel points to the Bureau of Prisons as responsible, which may be true from an institutional procedure perspective. But from a narrative standpoint, this sequence raises a question that demands an answer. Why, and based on what criteria? In investigative reporting, temporal coincidences require thorough verification. Who signed the order? What medical or security criteria were presented? Were there precedents? Were there appeals or court orders? Without these details, the public narrative remains vulnerable to conspiratorial interpretations.
You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of the California. We are bringing historic reform. Point of order. But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
You said
take
I'm the
control
most
of this
transparent
situation.
FBI director in history.
Take control of this
33,000 pages of information to you.
We saw a very effective combo of political strategies, technical answers that confuse, personal attacks that go viral, and a claim of transparency backed by an impressive number, 33,000 pages. Big numbers sell credibility instantly, but they don't replace qualitative analysis. The key question here is, of those pages, how many were not redacted? How many contain relevant information about third parties? How many remain incomplete or classified? The answer requires sourcing work, identifying the origin of the file, verifying who released the pages, and analyzing a representative sample of the content. Until that's done, we're left with a mixed arena of spectacle and fact. What matters to the audience is knowing how much of that rhetoric is a faithful portrait of the files and how much is political theater. If you consume this kind of content, expect two things: strong clips, because they're part of the game, and at the same time, documentary checks that confirm or refute the claims. Modern politics delivers spectacle. It's on us to separate the show from the evidence.